Imagine this. You are standing in a forest at night. And I don't mean the poetic, cinematic kind of night with a giant full moon filtering through whispering pine trees.
Right, definitely not that.
No, I mean absolute pitch black darkness. The kind of dark where you put your hand right in front of your face and you literally cannot see your own fingers.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's unsettling.
Right. There is no path, there are no stars, you have no compass, you are just there. And yet, if you've ever been in a situation like this, or, even just sitting alone in a totally dark room during a power outage,
Yeah,
you know that something inside you sort of leans.
it leans.
Yeah, it's not towards safety necessarily, and it definitely isn't a logical calculation. But you feel this subtle pull in your chest, this quiet hum right beneath your ribs. It's almost as if your body remembers a direction that your conscious mind hasn't even seen yet.
Yes. It's a very real, very physical sensation. And, well, what we're going to explore in this deep dive is that this leaning, this humming in the chest, it isn't fantasy. It isn't some mystical superpower either. This is intuition. But we need to radically change how we think about it. We aren't looking at intuition as an oracle or, a convenient shortcut for people who just don't want to think hard.
Right, like a magic 8-ball or something.
Exactly. We are exploring it as the silent architecture of perception itself, from the perspective of Gestalt psychology, and honestly, just from a purely biological standpoint. We have to grasp one fundamental truth right out of the gate.
Which is?
We do not passively receive reality. We actively organize it. We are organizing the world around us, even and perhaps especially when we believe we are completely lost in the dark.
Okay, let's unpack that because it sounds incredibly profound. But if I'm being honest, in the real world, modern quote-unquote smart people usually treat intuition like it's a rumor.
A rumor, I like that.
Yeah, it's a whisper we have here and then immediately talk ourselves out of. If you, listening right now, are standing in a metaphorical dark forest like a career crisis or a relationship crossroads, your immediate instinct probably isn't to trust a subtle pull in your chest.
No, of course not.
It's to pull out your phone, make a massive spreadsheet, list 50 pros and cons, and demand absolute clarity before you take a single step. We want undeniable proof before we trust the lean.
We do, and that is exactly where we get stuck. That demand for upfront proof is a fundamental misunderstanding of how human perception actually works.
Wait, really? Because society pretty much rewards the spreadsheet approach.
Sure, but we wait for clarity before acting, and clarity is not the starting point of perception. It never has been. Clarity is the outcome of engagement.
Oh, that's interesting. The outcome.
Right. Before there is a clear path, there is only the environment, what we call the field. Before there is a definitive direction, there is only that leaning you described. So, to understand why your spreadsheet is failing you, we have to look at the first draft of the mind.
The first draft.
Yes. We have to look at how your nervous system organizes reality before language even gets involved to put neat little labels on things.
Wait, before language gets involved. So we're talking about raw subconscious processing, just like pure sensory intake.
Well, let's refine that slightly. It's not just raw intake, it's active structuring. Have you ever looked at that classic optical illusion? The image that is either a white vase in the center or two black faces looking at each other in profile.
Oh yeah, the one from literally every intro psych class.
It's the one.
You stare at it,
Yeah.
and it's a vase, and then your brain kind of glitches, and suddenly it's two faces.
Right, but notice the mechanics of that glitch. You see the vase or you see the faces. You never see both simultaneously.
That's true, you can't.
Your brain cannot hold both realities at the exact same time. And when it flips, what was the meaningless background suddenly becomes the meaningful foreground.
Okay.
Intuition is precisely that moment just before the flip. It's the split second when your nervous system senses the pattern shifting, when the field is charged with potential, but your conscious talking mind hasn't yet found the word vase or face.
Wow. I'm trying to picture what that feels like in real time. Like, I don't know, have you ever watched a really good jazz musician improvise?
Oh, absolutely.
When you watch them up close, they clearly aren't calculating each individual note mathematically. It's almost like they're listening to the silence between the chords.
That's a beautiful way to put it.
They feel the tension in the room when a harmony is unresolved and their fingers just, naturally move toward resolution.
The jazz musician is a great example, but let's take it a step further. It's not just that they hear the music, it's that the unresolved chords create a literal tension in their nervous system.
Physical tension.
Yes. In Gestalt psychology, there is a concept for this called pregnance.
Pregnance. Wow, that sounds incredibly German.
It is, and it translates roughly to pithiness or conciseness. But in psychology, it refers to the mind's innate biological drive towards simplicity, coherence, and wholeness.
Okay, so the brain wants things to be whole.
Exactly. The brain consumes an enormous amount of energy. An unfinished melody or an unresolved pattern is what we call an open gestalt. It requires cognitive energy to keep it open.
I see.
The mind hates an open gestalt. It wants to close it to save energy and restore balance. So that invisible pull toward closure, that feeling of the fingers needing to resolve the chord, that is intuition.
Okay, if you're listening to this and looking at a pros and cons list for your life right now, you might be thinking, this is way too abstract. So let's apply this drive for closure to a real-life scenario.
Please do.
Let's say you're staring down 2 job offers. Job A is the safe one. It's highly rational, the salary is great, it makes perfect sense to your parents.
The spreadsheet winner.
Exactly, the spreadsheet winner. Job B is a bit of a wild card. It's uncertain, maybe the title is weird, but it carries this strange resonance. You look at the offer and you just feel like it fits, even though you absolutely cannot explain why on paper.
Right.
Most of us will force ourselves to take the rational option, Job A. We'll call it being an adult. But listening to you makes me wonder, is that unexplained fit of Job B actually my entire organism trying to close a gestalt I can't quite see yet?
That is a phenomenal way to frame it. Yes. Intuition is not a mystical crystal ball predicting that Joe B will make you a millionaire.
Darn.
I know, unfortunately not. It's about your organism sensing your present reality more completely than your conscious calculating thought allows.
Because rationality is limited.
Rationality, by its very nature, operates on fragments. It isolates variables. It looks at a salary number, a commute time, a benefits package. But intuition operates on the entire field simultaneously.
Okay, but hold on. If my brain is doing a background scan of the whole field, gathering all this data about the hiring manager's micro-expressions or, I don't know, the vibe of the office, why do I feel it in my stomach? Why does my chest hum? If this is a brain process, why does it feel so profoundly physical? That sounds like a body thing, not a mental thing.
That is the most important distinction we can make. We have been conditioned to believe that cognition is confined to the skull. It isn't.
It isn't.
Not at all. Your intuition is a robust biological mechanism, not just a mental one. You feel it in your stomach because of the enteric nervous system. You actually have a second brain in your gut, literally comprised of over 100 million neurons.
Wait, 100 million? In the gut?
Yes, and it is connected directly to your brain via the vagus nerve, which acts like an information superhighway.
So they're talking to each other constantly?
Constantly. When your entire organism gathers pre-reflective data, say, the hiring manager at Job A pauses a fraction of a second too long before answering a question about company culture. Or the lighting in the office makes you subtly squint.
The little things.
Exactly. Your conscious mind ignores it. It's too busy thinking about the salary. But your enteric nervous system registers the threat or the incongruence immediately. It literally alters the motility of your digestive tract. It tightens muscles.
Wow.
The vagus nerve shoots that physical data up to your brain, and you experience it as a gut feeling long before you have a thought. Intuition is the language of distributed intelligence across your entire body.
That perfectly explains an experience I had a few years ago. I was walking down a crowded street in a city I didn't know very well.
Okay.
Totally normal sunny afternoon. But suddenly, out of nowhere, I felt this overwhelming wave of unease. I mean, my shoulders went up to my ears, my pace quickened, my stomach dropped, and I just had this overwhelming urge to cross the street immediately.
And you didn't know why?
I couldn't have told you why. No one yelled. I didn't see a weapon. But a few minutes later, I found out a mugging had just happened in an alley right near where I was walking.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Now, I know I'm not psychic, but based on what you're saying, my body must have registered microshifts in the crowd, right?
Precisely. Your visual and auditory systems were picking up anomalies. Maybe the crowd density subtly shifted because people ahead of you were unconsciously veering away from the alley.
Right.
Maybe the ambient noise dropped. Your conscious brain didn't have time to process those tiny data points logically, but your vagus nerve and your gut registered the whole pattern, the gestalt, as a disturbance.
So it was just raw data processing.
Yes, your intuition was your biology physically reorganizing your posture and your pace to resolve the tension of that threat before you could even articulate it.
Okay, but here is where I really struggle, and I think a lot of listeners will too. Let's look at the dark side of this physical reaction.
There is a dark side, definitely.
What if I grew up in a really chaotic, unpredictable environment? If my gut tells me my kind, gentle new partner is actually a massive threat, is that intuition? Because my body is definitely tightening up, my vagus nerve is definitely firing. But, my therapist would call that trauma. How on earth are you separating intuition from just a triggered trauma response? I mean, what if I just ate a bad burrito or I'm just terrified of intimacy?
What's fascinating here is that this is a brilliant challenge, and it's where people get themselves into serious trouble. What you are describing with the gentle partner isn't intuition at all.
It's not.
No, it is the field being contaminated by unresolved past pain. In Gestalt theory, we have a term for this. It's called introjection.
Introjection, meaning like projecting inward.
Basically, yes. It's when you swallow a belief from your environment whole without digesting it. If you grew up in chaos, you might have swallowed the rule that kindness is always a trap, or peace means the other shoe is about to drop.
Right, those deeply ingrained rules.
Exactly. Those are introjects. They act like a distorted lens over your perception. So when the gentle partner approaches, the background of your field is so heavily charged with old trauma that it hijacks the incoming data.
Oh, wow.
Your body isn't organizing freshly to the present moment, it's replaying a historical script.
So I am essentially confusing a conditioned reflex with genuine intuition.
Yes.
But in the moment, though, in my physical body, fear and intuition can both feel incredibly loud.
Yeah.
Is there a metric? I mean, how do you actually tell the difference when you're standing in that dark forest?
You don't look at the content of the thought. You look at the quality of the physical signal.
The quality.
Yes. Genuine intuition, even when it's warning you of danger, has a certain quality of expansiveness. It feels grounding. It invites curiosity. It might whisper, lean away from this alley, but it doesn't shatter your reality.
And a reflex.
A conditioned reflex, or a trauma trigger, on the other hand, feels fiercely constricting. It demands absolute certainty. It rushes you. It causes panic, and it shouts out of fear. Genuine intuition feels like an open hand guiding you. A trauma trigger feels like a clenched fist around your throat.
Expansive versus constricting. An open hand versus a clenched fist. That is a massive distinction for anyone trying to navigate a hard choice right now.
It really is.
But let's say we recognize the clenched fist. We know our old fears and our conditioned reflexes are hijacking our field. How do we clear the noise?
Right.
If my inbox is exploding and my anxiety is high, how do I actually change the way I pay attention so I can hear that expansive whisper again?
We have to completely unlearn what we think paying attention means. Most of us assume that paying attention means focusing harder.
Yeah, first.
Narrowing your eyes, furrowing your brow, grinding your teeth, and intensely hunting for the answer in your spreadsheet. But true attention, the kind that unlocks insight, is the exact opposite. It's open receptivity.
Open receptivity.
It's the ability to hold the entire field in awareness without collapsing it into a single point of stress.
Okay, I need a visual for that because open receptivity sounds a bit like, well, doing nothing.
It is a very active form of doing nothing. Let's look at Wolfgang Kohler's famous experiments with chimpanzees from the early 20th century.
Okay.
He would place a chimpanzee in an enclosure with a banana hanging high out of reach, and he'd scatter a few wooden boxes or short bamboo sticks around the floor.
And yes, the chimps just aggressively jumped at the banana until they got exhausted, right? Because that's what I would do with my spreadsheet, just keep jumping.
Exactly. At first, they used the narrowed focus method. Frantic, hard focus, trial and error. They jumped, they reached, they shrieked. But here is where the magic happens.
What change?
After failing, they would stop. They would literally give up on the direct, forceful approach. They would sit back, adopt a posture of open receptivity, and just sort of gaze around the whole enclosure. And suddenly, almost instantaneously, you would see an insight moment.
What did they do?
A chimp would suddenly realize that two short bamboo sticks could be wedged together to make one long tool, or that the boxes could be stacked into a staircase.
Oh, wow.
The insight wasn't a product of grinding focus, it was structural. By softening their attention and stepping back, their nervous system stopped obsessing over the banana and started seeing the relationships between the objects on the floor.
They saw the whole picture?
The whole field reconfigured itself and a new solution simply emerged.
Wow. By giving up on the forced focus, they actually saw the whole picture. It makes me think of, I don't know, like a painter working at a canvas.
A painter is a perfect analogy.
A master painter doesn't meticulously plan out every single brushstroke mathematically before they touch the canvas.
Yeah.
If they get stuck, they step back, they look at the negative space, they soften their gaze.
Yes.
And intuition, in that sense, is the brushstroke she makes when she responds to the tension of the colors, just before her ego has time to step in and say, wait, Is this the right shade of blue? She's letting the entire composition tell her what it needs.
That is a perfect translation of the concept. She is attuned to the Gestalt of the painting. But for that insight to happen, for the chimp to see the sticks or the painter to see the stroke, there has to be a specific structural alignment. We call this isomorphism.
Isomorphism. Okay, break that down for me.
In Gestalt terms, isomorphism means there is a structural correspondence between your inner physiological state and the outer environment. The shape of your mind maps onto the shape of the world.
Okay, I follow you.
Now, here is where people get confused. If your external reality is incredibly chaotic, emails, demands, a major life crisis, your instinct is to match that chaos with a rigid, highly stressed internal state. You tighten up.
Of course, yeah, you brace for impact.
But that is a structural mismatch. The chaotic environment requires flexibility to find the hidden pattern. If your internal state is rigid, you literally cannot map onto the solution. You block the insight.
Ah, I see. So it isn't about mirroring the chaos. It's about your internal state, matching the needs of the field. You can't hear the whisper of a solution if your internal state is screaming. To get the insight back, you have to clear the field.
Precisely. You have to reduce the noise. You return to your bodily sensations. What do you actually feel right now? Is your jaw clenched? Is your breathing shallow?
Right, checking in with the body.
You must reset your internal structure. And crucially, you have to allow incompleteness. You have to forcefully resist the urge to jump at the banana. You have to resist forcing a premature answer just to relieve the anxiety of not knowing.
Allow incompleteness. That is so hard to do. And that actually brings me to what I think is the most intense, almost terrifying part of this entire deep dive. We've been talking about intuition sort of like it's a biological compass, a tool we use to find our way out of the dark forest we started talking about. But the ultimate revelation in all of this, and this really stopped me in my tracks, is that this compass might not work the way we think it does at all.
It doesn't. If we connect this biological process to the bigger existential picture, this is where it gets truly radical. What if the compass has no needle?
See, that is exactly what terrified me. Because picture this. You, the listener, are standing at that massive crossroads in your life. The relationship is ending or the career is pivoting. You are paralyzed.
Yes, the classic crossroads.
You close your eyes, you try to clear the field, you tune into your vagus nerve, and you are basically begging your intuition to just give you a sign. Please, just tell me, go left or go right. We are begging the compass for a heading. So how do I find true north if you're telling me there is no needle?
Because the needle implies there is a predetermined, quote-unquote, correct destination out there waiting for you. The radical reframe is this. Intuition does not point to a destination. It reveals that you are already in motion.
Wait, already in motion?
Yes. The problem at that crossroads isn't your lack of direction. The problem is that by obsessing over the map, obsessing over picking the mathematically perfect path, you have completely stepped out of the flow of experience.
Yeah.
You've stopped living the terrain, and you are staring at a piece of paper.
We completely freeze. We turn life into a multiple choice test instead of a living, breathing environment that we are a part of.
Exactly. And in doing so, we silence the very biological intelligence we're trying to consult. We fear the dark, we hate the uncertainty, so we freeze and demand light. We demand the spreadsheet.
Right.
But the darkness, the not knowing, isn't an obstacle to your intuition. It is the required condition for it. Think about it practically. In full light, when everything is laid out and guaranteed, you don't need intuition, you just follow the instructions, you read the highway signs.
That makes total sense.
But in the dark, the illusion of conscious control is finally stripped away. The known world dissolves, your rigid structures fail, and you finally drop below the surface and feel the earth beneath your feet.
So the crisis itself, the absolute darkness of the crossroads, is actually what sharpens our perception. Because the map burns up, and we are forced to actually feel our way forward step by step.
Yes. The French philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre captured the existential weight of this beautifully when he said we are condemned to be free.
Condemned to be free, what a paradox.
It is the ultimate paradox. There is no pre-written path. There is no cosmic GPS that guarantees you will arrive at a safe, successful, pain-free destination if you just make the right choice.
We really want there to be, though.
We do, but every moment demands a choice, and no external authority, no spreadsheet, no parent, no societal expectation can absolve you of the responsibility of making it. True intuition, then, isn't a magical voice telling you what to do to stay safe. It is the echo of your own freedom reverberating through your nervous system.
The echo of your own freedom. That is incredibly heavy, but it is also so liberating. It makes me think that freedom feels exactly like falling until you realize you are the sky.
That's a profound way to look at it.
You aren't plummeting toward a crash. You are suspended in your own agency.
Hmm.
If we really grasp this, if we really trust our own biology and our own freedom, we have to stop asking the universe, which way should I go? And start asking, what is this exact moment asking of me? We change the entire question from orientation to participation.
And when you make that shift, intuition is no longer a cryptic signal you are desperately trying to decode. It becomes a quality of being. You are walking without knowing the final destination, yet you feel in your bones that each step is true.
True, but not guaranteed.
Right. Not because it guarantees success, but because it is honest. It is a closed gestalt. It keeps you in direct contact with your own aliveness.
That completely flips everything we are taught about success and decision-making in the modern world. We are so obsessed with clarity. We want the destination locked into the GPS before we even put the car in drive.
We really do.
But this perspective teaches us that the path isn't stretched out miles ahead of us waiting to be discovered. The path is beneath us. It is co-created with every single step we take in awareness.
You do not find your path in the dark. You become the path.
You become the path. To you listening right now, think about what that means for whatever crossroads you're facing today. You don't have to find your way through the dark as if the dark is some enemy to defeat. You just have to learn to move with it.
Exactly.
Instead of treating your intuition like a crystal ball that's going to predict the future, you embody it. Like a dancer who doesn't consciously plan every single footfall of a routine, but who is already in rhythm with the music, the floor, and their own breath. You trust the depth of the present moment, not the direction of the future.
Which leaves us with one final, vital question to consider. If genuine intuition isn't about predicting the future, but rather sensing the present more completely, then your thoughts allow what is the most uncomfortable truth your present environment is trying to tell you right now, that your logical brain is desperately trying to talk you out of.
Think about that the next time you find yourself standing in the dark. Don't fight it. Lean into it. See what happens.